Welcome everyone who has joined. My name is Shyam Krishnan Balasundran. I'm the Director of Technology and Consulting Department in Miraavi. So really glad to have you all here today and hope you will enjoy the discussion today. When we put together the title for this session, why your AI strategy will fail without a clean data foundation, there was a little bit of a pushback internally. Few people thought it was pretty blunt, but we still kept it because that's exactly what we see happening around the industry, and that's exactly what we see happening with our customers as well. Leaders invest in the best AI tools, they get the best vendors in, and 6 months later, they're asking why the pilot never made it into production, right? So that has been the case that we see across the industry. SAP leaders or SAP leaders of technology leaders of SAP run enterprises, they're asking, they have this architectural challenge that SAP themselves have put forward in the way of business data cloud and API clean core policy, the API block usage policy and all that, which restricts third-party API access, which directly affects AI workloads specifically. And it also limits traditional customization. So all of this is creating a lot of confusion in the AI enablement within enterprises. So today, three of us are going to have an open and honest conversation. Consider this more like a chat, friends chatting about what's really going underneath these stalled initiatives and failed initiatives, and what can we really do about it. So I'll be looking at this from an architectural angle, an architectural lens. I have with me Gopu Mohan Geeta. He's Associate Group Director for our SAP practice. Welcome, Gopu.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Shyam. And welcome, everybody. So I'll be coming to this from the SAP side. So I know most of the audience today are running SAP environment. It can be ECC, it can be S4HANA, BDC, or any of these combinations. And what I see repeatedly from these organizations is that, they treat their SAP data as a given. So it's there. It has been there for 15 years. So it must be usable, right? So the reality is quite different, and we will get into more details in the coming discussions.
Yeah, thanks, Gopu. And the third participant is Aditya Shankar. He's our engineering lead from the Data and AI department. Welcome, Aditya.
Thank you, Shyam, for introducing me. Hello, everyone. Thanks again for joining. I will be looking at it at an engineering perspective. And from a data viewpoint, I want to start by saying that one pattern we repeatedly see is that organizations often assume AI readiness because they have invested in SAP and other analytics data platforms or cloud infrastructure. But AI actually doesn't consume these investments. It actually consumes data. So the problem is never the AI model. We see that today's models are genuinely very powerful. And the problem is actually what you feed them, which is the data. In most enterprise environments, what you're feeding them is a mess, which is data accumulated over the years of acquisitions, process changes, new requirements, custom developments, etc. And what I want to state early is that many organizations, they think they have an AI problem, but in reality, they have a data foundation problem. And this is where we need to clean it up.
Yeah. And so we'll get straight into that failure pattern, right? So we'll look at where AI really breaks in enterprises, and specifically with the lens of the SAP run enterprises, and why it's invisible until it's too late, because that's the part which is very interesting. And let's start with that failure pattern, because what we see that it's strikingly consistent across industries, industry domains. Basically, we work with manufacturing companies, we work with energy distribution companies, we work with logistics companies, and the AI, all of their AI adoption story plays out the same way almost every single time. A business unit champions an AI use case and leadership approves it. A platform gets selected, a vendor gets selected, and he comes in and they show a POC with curated data. and everybody is happy. But the problem is, the moment this particular pilot goes into production, it is hitting the SAP raw tables, right? Which is having the raw transactional data that has been there. And this, like Aditya mentioned, it's not clean. It's not cleaned up because there was no mandate to clean it up. There was no architectural decision to clean it up. So you might be hitting a data from a planned merger 5 years ago where nobody reconciled the material master, or you might be hitting the records where the cost center structure might have changed twice. And suddenly what you see is that the AI model, which was perfect in the pilot, is now producing outputs that no one in the business is trusting.
Yeah, totally agree to what Shyam just told. So this is something which is an invisible part. So because the failure does not announce itself loudly, and the AI tools or AI application does not crash. So it always keep on producing the output. But the thing is, the output can be wrong or inconsistent, and sometimes even the business users just can't tell whether this data is right or not. So what happens is that once they stop, lose their trust on these AI tools, they will again go back to their spreadsheets, and all these AI initiative quietly dies. And after 3 months, 3 months later, someone will say that, oh, this AI project did not work. So in the SAP environment, especially, you have layers of complexity that most AI implementation does not account for. So, like you have data that span multiple ERP generations. You have customizations, Z tables, custom fields that that even do not map cleanly to any standard schema. And you have business rules baked into the system that nobody documented, because the person who built it would have been retired long back in 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And if I build on what you guys have described, the engineering reality is also something where most data pipelines that is feeding AI today are originally like designed for reporting and inference. It's not for decision intelligence for AI. For example, if we consider a weekly operations dashboard, like that says an inventory of 98% accuracy, nobody maybe notices a 2% miss. But if an AI-powered engine consumes that same data, that 2% gap that you see in the report can translate into like stockouts or excess inventory, or maybe an incorrect recommendation from the AI side.
Yeah.
So we've seen these kind of issues maybe across manufacturing, logistics, or other energy organizations. The AI model itself is not failing. The underlying data may have issues like duplicate master records or inconsistent hierarchies, maybe some delayed integrations of data, or some undocumented business rules. So these issues were not visible then, but then the AI model came in and simply amplified those issues. So one of my favorite phrases is that AI acts like a data quality microscope. So problems that stayed hidden for years in the reporting environments became immediately visible once the AI model starts consuming this data. So that's why I think like data engineering is like a very critical success factor when moving a pilot to production. So the tolerance for dirty data when you invest in AI is kind of which is manageable early. Is kind of essentially zero when you want reliable outputs.
Yeah, and Aditya, you hit the point where, see, if you are doing data engineering for BI, a certain level of approximation exists, right? And the chart might look right enough, but when it's fed, the same data is fed into an AI model, it kind of amplifies the inconsistencies in the data and use it in ways you cannot really predict, and which was rightly pointed out by Aditya. See, basically, what we look at from as a data and AI and SAP partner, when we look at it, we see three specific data conditions which separate pilots from production. Right? In our work, we have identified those three as unified data, which is the first one. The second one is governed access, and the third one is auditability and lineage. So I'll just go a little bit in depth on all three, or unification first. So what we mean by that is AI needs to consume the data from a coherent, reconciled semantic layer. If it starts to pull from raw data, raw source tables, and pulled it ad hoc without any planning, there is going to be inconsistencies or errors that is going to get amplified, like Aditya mentioned. And in most organizations, there is another problem. The same entity, a customer or a product, exists in multiple systems. And in multiple systems, they have different identities, different hierarchies, and even different update cadences. So, an AI model does not have no way of correlating. For example, customer in a CRM system, a customer A in a CRM system could be account B in the financial or the ERP system, and AI has no way to understand that they are correlated. So this kind of correlation and reconciliation has to happen, in a upstream, in a data layer, before the AI system starts to see the data or even consume the data, right?
Yeah, right. And I want to reinforce your point, Shan, because what we have seen is that unification is where like many organizations underestimate the effort involved.
Yeah.
So I guess we have seen teams, right, in the past attempt to solve fragmented master data inside the model itself, like essentially do a certain level of prompt engineering to figure out whether, like you said, a customer A in one system is the same as customer B in another. Like it might work in like a POC or a proof of concept with a few thousand records, but it doesn't work reliably when you're dealing with millions of records or millions of transactions that comes from SAP, CRM, warehouse systems, and partner applications. So what I think like work for a unification is like creating a trusted data layer first. So whether that's a master data management, a governed lakehouse in Databricks, or a semantic layer in Snowflake. The objective is that it's not tool specific. The aim is to give AI one trusted version of truth. And I would like to follow up by saying a second condition, which is the governed access. It's about knowing who can see what and making sure the AI operates within these boundaries. I think Gobu can agree with me on this, that in SAP environments, you have role-based access controls, right? And this has been refined over many years. So each person is acting in a restricted boundary in SAP. So that when we have an AI use case, the moment you start pulling data through a new AI layer, you are actually bypassing these controls in SAP. And now AI can access like PII or confidential personal data. Let's say imagine a scenario where an AI assistant is helping employees query operational data, and a warehouse supervisor is looking for the latest shipments that come in the warehouse and suddenly start seeing financial HR data, like which is not intended for them. So the technology here is like working exactly as it's designed, but outcomes are now becoming a compliance issue.
Yeah.
And like where organizations who give importance to data security or have like strong GDPR policies, they can kill the AI program instantly.
Exactly. Totally agree with what Aditya was saying, because this governance piece, it's something like all the SAP leaders will feel very emotionally. Like whenever I talk to customers and other SAP leaders, everybody will be, interested to know how we can have controlled access to business users or these kind of AI tools. So in manufacturing industries or like energy or any kind of industry, you will be dealing with data that touches financial reporting, regulatory compliance, and maybe even safety critical operations as well. So the idea is an AI layer might sidestep your established controls is genuinely terrifying to a CIO or CEO, right?
Yeah.
And rightly it's so, correct? So, which brings us to the third condition, auditability and lineage. So, in the if the AI makes a recommendation or generates an output, the business leaders challenges it, and definitely then you need to be able to trace exactly where that data came from, which data sources, which version of the data, which transformation steps. Definitely these kind of traceability should be there. And without lineage, AI becomes a black box, and black boxes does not get adopted in regulated industries, right, Sham?
Yeah. It does not, right? And nobody likes a black box as well. So, what I see that is, we've looked through the three data conditions, but there is a cost to each of these unresolved gap, right? There is a cost is missing unification. So your AI produces inconsistent outputs that the business can't trust. The worst thing is the time to detect. We talked about it earlier as well. Time to detect is mostly like 3 to 6 months after launch, where you are actually interacting with in the AI model, and you see that there are discrepancies, and it's slowly surfacing. So what that means is that your entire investment to the cost is down the drain, because now nobody trusts the AI outputs, and you also lose the goodwill which you had when the project was approved, because you wanted to bring AI into the organization. If you miss governance, even more serious, right? I mean, Aditya touched upon it. It could be a minor compliance issue, but I see it in a different way. It could be a minor compliance issue, or it could be as large as a reportable breach, which is going to again kill the reputation of the company. Missing lineage, it is good for a while, because your AI scales, your AI is producing right output. But right, Gopu mentioned, if we can't provide an explainability to AI answers, it will be flagged in an audit. And in the regulated industries, anything that is flagged in an audit is straight away either dies or goes into the back burner. So you cannot get an enterprise to scale AI beyond early adoption if you don't implement lineage and explainability. But there is more to these gaps. I mean, there is definitely these are the business side of the gaps. There is definitely a technical and architectural side of the gap that have been surfacing, and me and Aditya used to talk about it a lot internally when we talk to our customers. Right, Aditya?
Yes, absolutely. And even if we touch upon these three data conditions, unified data, governed access, and auditability with lineage, one thing that is missed with most enterprise architectures is that they are designed for reporting and operational efficiency. So they weren't designed for, let's say, a retrieval augmented generation model or a machine learning feature store, or let's say a vector database or AI copilots, etc. So we have encountered organizations where like companies just want to plug in this AI model to the existing architecture and make it work. A common example, like what may be missed, is batch processing. Maybe a nightly or a hourly ETL process might be perfectly adequate, like for example, a management reporting or something. But if you're deploying an AI assistant for customer service or supply chain operations, yesterday's data is like often too late, right? And you need real-time data freshness for that. Similarly, many organizations have excellent data warehouses built which has limited metadata management, lineage tracking, or observability. But like those were major concern when your goal was reporting and inference. But they became critical when AI enters the picture. So the challenges is that the organizations aren't making bad decisions. The challenge is that like those decisions were made before AI came into production, and before AI became part of the conversations. And these were like investment priorities in a different era.
Yeah. And this architectural gap I mentioned that Aditya pointed out, it compounds in a specific way. You make a platform decision early. Maybe you committed to a cloud data warehouse 3 years ago before your AI roadmap was clear, right? And that platform decision now has constrained your data model. Your data model has constrained your governance approach. And now when AI arrives, like Aditya mentioned, the foundation cannot hold it, right? Or cannot commit to this is not because any of this single if you look at it that way, single architectural decision is not wrong, right? It's just that the decisions weren't made with AI requirements in mind. Now, corrective actions need to be taken. Now, whether it is a complete re-architecture, we're not really sure. Sometimes it is. But more often than not, we can solve this architectural gap by introducing a mediation layer. So that layer is a governed semantic layer that sits between your SAP data estate and your AI applications. So that layer handles the three data conditions that we were talking about: the unification, the access controls, and bringing the lineage and auditability to your data. Now, what does that mediation layer provide? This your SAP systems doesn't change, but now your AI layer has a completely new, clean, governed, traceable data surface to read from and to consume from, and carry on with your AI initiatives and workloads.
Yeah. So even so for the SAP leaders in the audience, like I would like to be very direct about the sequencing implications. So if you are evaluating a AI platform right now, I guess most of you are definitely. So the governance and the unification layer need to be in place before you commit, and not after. Okay, so the instinct is to pick the platform first and to figure out the data layer later, and this is how you end up with a very expensive pilot that never scales.
Yeah, so I think we have spent the last 30 minutes or so talking about how AI fails, why AI stalls, what are the gaps, what is the architectural reality, and what are the gaps that can be fixed there. So let's just shift gears and then talk about what SAP leaders need to activate first and how partners like Miraavi can really help on that regard. Right. So before I go into depth on that, I invite Gopu to just talk a bit about the framework or assessment framework that we use internally
Yes.
and as well as with our customers as a first step to take the first step in the right direction of getting your data foundation right. Yeah, Gopu.
Exactly. Yeah, sure, definitely. So when we engage with an organization that is preparing for an AI initiative or trying to rescue that one is already stalled, so we start with an assessment which we call it as SAP Data Foundation Assessment. It evaluates your data estate across 5 interconnected dimensions, which are like your SAP data landscape, your integration and pipeline architecture, your data warehouse and storage posture. Again, then we touch upon data governance and quality. And also we touch upon the AI and analytical readiness as well. So the three condition, we already discussed, like Sham and Aditya were also discussing, like the unification, governance, and lineage. All these three will sit squarely within these 5 dimensions, basically. So, but the framework is broader because in an SAP environment, you cannot diagnose the AI readiness problem without also answering the architectural questions. Your SAP account team is already putting it on your table, right? So, what do you do about the business data cloud? So, the first dimension is your SAP data landscape and the governance quality. Before you even think about unification, you need to know the state of your core SAP master data. Even it can be your material master, it can be your customer master, and it also can be the cost center hierarchy. So are they complete? Are they consistent across the system? And are there any quality issues that has been tolerated? Uh, you know because nobody have a mandate to fix them. So no, these are very important. Like we need to know all these things, and we also look into how data is structured and published via CDS views, and how much of your business critical logic is sitting in custom Z tables, and which may not have any standard schema. Okay, so we also run a structured diagnostic across these, and also it will give you a clear picture and a prioritized list of gaps that these gaps will be most directly impact your AI readiness. So we will give you a clear picture on all those areas so that you will be ready for the AI initiatives.
Yes. So, Gobu, like once we have validated the quality of SAP data, like you discussed, I guess the next step is understanding the engineering perspective. So next step is where the data is actually moving through the organization, right? So the engineering part is that we look at the pipeline architecture, right? So how the data is currently moving from your SAP into the analytics environment, whether like if you have a data warehouse or a lake house or a simple semantic layer, or let's say it's a direct API based integration where you're just calling REST APIs and getting the data in. So we look at this source and we assess not only latency, transformation logic, how you're capturing metadata and how you are handling errors at the source level, but also like overall reliability and observability of your data availability supply chain. So if you're looking specifically at this problem, we examine how ETL or ELT pipelines that you have is designed, how your dependencies are managed, whether you have existing data quality checks embedded into the process or if you need more data quality checks. So how, let's say, CDC is handled where like there are some schema changes that happen sometimes, and whether like teams already have visibility into pipeline failures or delayed loads or incomplete data sets. So if something breaks today, like does the team know what has broken? So many organizations have like pipelines, let's say that were originally designed for reporting and dashboarding, which I mentioned earlier, like where an overnight batch processing was sufficient. So uh, an example is that AI introduces a different set of requirements, like which often demands high data freshness, or strong data quality, or significant higher or data traceability. So here, like we also evaluate the lineage operational readiness. For example, can the team immediately identify where a critical pipeline fails, or can they trace where a specific KPI originated, and can they understand like which downstream AI or analytics workloads are impacted when a schema change is happening? So ultimately, what we're asking is quite simple. If an AI model starts consuming from this data ecosystem tomorrow, what is going to break first? And when we have this answer, it typically reveals hidden architectural gaps that have been tolerated over the years because they had limited impact because you are using a reporting dashboard and this was not impacted in your reporting dashboard. But when you have an AI model, it's becoming a critical risk, right?
Yeah, so looks like a lot of depth covered for the pipeline architecture, Aditya. So it looks like you are checking how it is designed, you are checking how the failure patterns are and assessed, how quickly the team can detect failures. But my question is, if the pipelines are evaluated and if we take a deeper look at them through this lens, wouldn't and that means that they already have a data warehouse and a storage posture defined. So, like, wouldn't it something that has to be looked because governance clearly lies there, and also whether it is ready for AI workload consumption, right?
Yes, absolutely. So that brings me to one of the remaining dimensions, which is the data warehouse and the storage posture. So once you see that your ETL pipelines are working well and you're getting data correctly, we underestimate the fact that often underestimate the fact that your data warehouse is not well built. So it's not enough to have like data moving cleanly through a pipeline. Like if we have an end result or a sink that is raw and ungoverned, uh, it is not something that an AI model will appreciate. And we look at whether your central trusted data repository actually exists and how mature your data modeling at the sink is, and whether your storage architecture can support compute and access patterns that an AI workload demand, right? And uh, like I explained multiple times, like many organizations we find are having warehouses built for aggregate reporting, and it's not designed exactly for feature extractions or low latency access that AI requires. So not just pipelines, we will be looking at the data warehousing side as well. And this gap needs to be on the table before we make any platform decisions on AI.
Yeah. So quite a in-depth assessment that is proposed there. But it sounds like this assessment is going to be a 200-page transformation plan based on how Aditya was explaining it with the depth that we are showcasing at the data engineering level, as well as on what Gopu mentioned on the SAP data side as well. But it's not going to be exactly a 200-page transformation plan, right? It's going to be a prioritized activation roadmap. It's a sequenced set of first steps that to get your foundation going so that you are in the right direction for your AI initiatives, and you can provide AI with trustworthy data. So I see the roadmap with 3 horizons, which is going to what you can activate in the first 30 days, what you can activate in the 90 days after, and what you can deactivate for the long term. So this 30-day horizon always starts with the governance and the lineage layer. Because that's what enables everything else, and it's important for the regulated industries as well. You can have imperfect data and still make progress on the governance part. But in a regulated industry, you cannot really make progress without explainability or lineage being there, right? And sitting at the center of it, I think Gopu touched upon it, on how the business data cloud affects, or how the API usage policy that SAP has released, how does it affect the entire architecture. Now, we look at it in a little different way. We create this target state definition and stack recommendation, and along with it, we specify what can be done with business data cloud. So sometimes you might have you end up with an architecture or a target state which is completely on BDC. The architecture is completely on BDC. Sometimes it is going to be completely on the other side. It's on the open, frameworks, which could be a lakehouse approach using Databricks or Snowflake or Microsoft Fabric, whichever serves the organization better, whatever it is adequate for them. Or we could end up with a hybrid model where BDC handles pulling data using the SAP's data sphere. It gives you the right balance between SAP's governance and the views that SAP can create. And at the same time, on the other side of the platform, you have the open platform flexibility, open framework flexibility through the Databricks or the Snowflake option. So the basic thing I'm talking about is this recommendation is going to be based on your specific needs and your landscape. And it is not based on, hey, we picked this one vendor to sell, so we have to sell the tools. That's not the point. And, Gopu can explain, this assessment is not going to be a long assessment also, right? We are not talking about a large time investment from the customer side as well.
Yeah. So no, definitely this assessment is not going to be so long. So basically this will take minimum of 4 to 5 weeks of engagement. There are 2 focus sessions with your team, like one technical and one with your business and technology leadership. And we handle the analysis and architecture work in between. So basically your team's total time investment would be around 8 to 10 hours. And at the end of it, you will have a clear picture of where your data estate stands across each of the dimensions we have walked you through today. So it's a concrete architecture recommendation with the rationalize behind it, a phased roadmap that tells you what to address first and why. So we have even structured it in this way because the right architecture decision made early is which determines whether AI initiative scales or stalls. So maybe Aditya, on your perspective on the engineering side.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, so when we have this 5-week assessment from an engineering perspective, what I think organizations usually gain is clarity. So I think I mentioned in the beginning of the meeting is that many organizations have data platforms that have grown organically over many years. Like we have new systems that gets added, integrations evolve, and reporting requirements changing. And before long, like you will have a platform that has grown far more complex than anyone intended, right? With multiple data sources and platforms. Yeah. So the assessment helps you understand, answer a very fundamental question, right? How is the data is moving through the organization, and what are the biggest risks and gaps you have, and what is genuinely affecting your AI readiness? And let's say like some gaps may be like simply technical imperfections that can wait, or some may be like critical that needs to be assessed immediately. So when we have this assessment ready and having those answers met, it makes much easier for an organization to prioritize investment and move forward with confidence rather than like assuming things. And even if you like not decide to pursue any further engagement with us, this kind of clarity can be helpful for the team for future investments. And yeah, and this kind of brings me to my closing thought, which is that most organizations doesn't have an AI problem, so they have a data problem. And the encouraging part is that these data problems are visible, measurable, and solvable challenges. So we have seen many organizations, I think we have seen unlock significant value from AI without changing models or buying new platforms. So what changed was the quality, governance, and trustworthiness of the data that feeds these systems. So the organizations succeeding with AI aren't necessarily the ones spending the most money on AI. So they are getting this sequence right. They first invested in unified data governance and Lineage, and then they scaled AI on top of that foundation. So eventually, it's not just Claude or GPT which is better, right? It's about getting the foundation right first, and then the AI tools start delivering the value they promised in the demo. So eventually, what I think that you should be able to trace every decisions an AI model made. So skip this foundation, and even the best AI platform may struggle to create a lasting business impact.
Exactly, exactly. So what I have to say to the SAP leaders on the audience is that your SAP environment is really an asset for you. Like it contains 10, 15, sometimes 20 years of operational data that is genuinely valuable for SAP application. So don't let data quality issues or architectural gaps prevent you from using it. These gaps we can fix it, like as they are told from the engineering side, we can fix those gaps which are already there. And but you have to know where you have to start first. And if you are sitting on with a BDC question from your SAP account team, which we already discussed, this assessment will give you a clear independent answer for all of those.
Yeah, so great conversation, guys. I hope a lot of insights were shared across. At least for me, it was very insightful to understand the
Definitely,
SAP world
definitely.
as well as the complexities with the data engineering and all of that. So I'll close the title close with the title of the session. So we talked about how the title was little spiky, right? So your AI strategy will fail without a clean data foundation. But what I want to add is, I think Aditya also touched upon it. If you get the foundation right, and if you are producing or creating trustworthy data models for AI to consume, your AI strategy has a real chance of working and succeeding, right? And your transformation aspirations can become fruitful as well. So I think, I don't know if Aditya or Gopu mentioned it, the organizations who are succeeding in this AI market, they are not the ones with the biggest AI budget, or they are not the ones which spend the most amount of dollars on the newest
Exactly.
AI models.
Yeah.
They are
Exactly.
ones who got this sequencing right, right? They
Yes.
have made sure
Yes.
that the data is there, the data is available, and they have got that sequencing right. They have got the foundation part right. So, if anything that we have discussed today resonates where your organization is, or where your organization is standing, or even you have moved in the same direction that we are speaking, there is probably worth a conversation. So thanks, Aditya and Gopu, for the insightful conversation.
Thank you so
I'll
much.
hand it over to Sharon to close us out on this.
Hey, thank you, Sham, Gobu, and Aditya for sharing your
Thank you.
valuable insights and expertise with us today. And a special thank you to everyone who joined us for this session. We hope you found the discussion insightful and gained valuable perspectives on building a strong data foundation for AI success. If you would like to explore how these strategies can be applied within your organization, please feel free to reach out to us. We will now open the floor for a Q&A session. Please post your questions in the chat and our speakers will be happy to address them. Hi, Sham and team. We have a couple of questions on the chat. First
Sure.
from Arshad. How important is real-time data for AI?
I can probably answer that. So real-time data is depending entirely on the use case, and that's a distinction that we need to make it clearly initially. For example, if you have an anomaly detection or a manufacturing line or dynamic pricing or logistics, real-time data is not optional. Latency in this data is like translating to a latency in decision making, and that has like operational cost. That has an operational cost. For maybe a use case like demand forecasting or financial planning or maybe a predictive model, near real time or maybe a daily data is sufficient. So the mistake that we see is like organizations build real time pipelines because real time sounds like advanced, right? And not because the use case requires it. So real time pipelines are like significantly more complex and expensive to maintain. It is true. But really, like you should only pay that cost if business outcome actually demands real-time data.
Yeah, I have something to add there as well. So architecturally, I think Aditya also touched upon it. The question of real-time readiness is something we assess very early when we look in through a use case. Because if a use case really demands a low latency data, the SAP, not just the SAP, the data extraction approach itself changes significantly. You are looking at event-driven architectures or change data capturing or even streamlined pipelines. Rather than a batch or a daily batch loads. So it's a design conversation where how the SAP data estates has been built and knowing the latency requirement before you design the pipeline saves a significant amount of rework from an architectural perspective.
Yes, exactly.
Thanks for the question. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Aditya. Sham. We have another question. What if we are already on the journey for AI transformation? How will you help us?
Excellent. So
Yeah.
this one I'll take it. I think Gopu already smiling. Gopu may
Yeah,
have
yeah.
a point to add, but
Yeah.
it's great to hear, honestly, right? So if
Yeah.
you're already on the journey of AI transformation, it's great to hear. And this is where most of the organization we work with are also in the same path. The question that we would have to explore together is where the data foundation stands relative to where your AI aspirations are. So if your initiative, if you look at it in this way, if your initiative, you have a vision for your initiative to be at certain place in 6 to 12 months from right now. Is the data foundation keeping pace with that ambition, right? Because the worst outcome that you can come up with is that you are already on the AI transformation journey, and 6 months or 12 months down the line, you find out that your data foundation is not holding up, or it's not going to commit to the production, timeline that you proposed or planned initially.
Yeah. So especially like on the SAP side as well, like I also want to touch upon. What we often find is that the AI work stream and the data work stream moves at a different speed, and use cases get defined, and the platform get selected. And what happens is that the data work quietly becomes a dependency. Nobody fully scope. So we can step into that track and move it at the pace like your AI roadmap needs. So we can do that. We can step in between, and we will help you to move forward with better control and better governance.
Yeah, and it's a great question though.
Yeah, it's a great
Thank
question.
you.
Happy to know that people are already on the AI transformation journey.
Yeah, thank you, Gobu. Thank you, Sham. Another question we have. What data quality issues can arise while implementing AI?
Yeah, so I can maybe take that up as well. So I guess the quality issues, like we can maybe span it across some categories. One which is mostly happening is completeness gaps. So let's say some fields that are already there, it's being partially populated because maybe a business process never required them. But the AI model maybe needs it populated fully to reason correctly. So we will need like programs to like maybe fill this field. One example is. Second is maybe consistency issues. So some same entity can be described across multiple systems or multiple time periods differently. So which confuses models that expected a stable representation to be different, right? So so this is something that needs to be addressed as well. And another thing is maybe timeliness of data. So I think we have addressed this in the call as well, and which is where real-time data is something that is significant for AI. So data that comes maybe arrives later or out of sequence. It's actually partially damaging the AI use case because of its pattern. And there is something extra additional that I'll maybe call a silent quality issue, because maybe that data that looks correctly in the surface, it may be wrong in the context, right? In the business context. So maybe, for example, a cost center that was valid 2 years ago, but was restructured and maybe nobody updated the historical record. So on surface, it looks fine, but context-wise, it's different. So these are things I think data quality issues that can arise while implementing AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, sorry, Shyam. Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to add something. So I hope Gopu also agrees with me when I say that in SAP specifically, this master data quality is a category that I think all SAP consultants would flag most urgently, right? Material master, vendor master, customer master. These records accumulate inconsistencies over the years, mostly through migrations, mergers. There are duplicate records, there are conflicting classifications, incomplete hierarchies. Yeah,
Definitely. So those data will
the
go
data quality assessment of your master data also before an AI implementation can help with the data quality. Yeah,
exactly.
Gopu, please add on.
No, but we already discussed. So this is the data which we are going to feed into the AI tool. So definitely, if there's duplicates or unreconciled data, we need to assess it before you go into the AI transformation, and we need to clean it up so that AI will be given with cleansed data, so that your output will be much accurate.
Yeah. Thanks, Gopu.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, team. Another question. If SAP Joule is given access to all the underlying models, wouldn't it provide insights across your enterprise data? Why do we need to have a data foundation when we can utilize Joule to do that for us?
Okay, so definitely, related to Joule. Joule is a very strong capability, which we are also very genuinely excited about how SAP is taking it. So definitely, we already discussed about the controlled governance in the discussion itself, which is very important. To take care of the governance, even if it is a Joule. So whatever data we give, if it is not a governed data, so that will definitely create a compliance issue for the organization. And so, so those are something which we need to make sure that we are giving a governed data to the AI tools.
Yeah, and I think I'll also add. So we also talked about this master data just now, and if the master data has these gaps, the duplicates and unreconciled records from a migration, Joule, being an AI model, will reflect that in its outputs, right? So the interface, Joule interface is smart. It's a smarter interface on top of your SAP data, but it doesn't fix the issues that is underneath. The data quality issues that are on your SAP data, we were just talked about in the master data, this still remains. Another thing that I want to highlight is, so Joule works within SAP. So if your SAP is working on a clean core, Joule will not have any problem with the SAP data. But if you are really looking at an enterprise, you have not just SAP data, you have non-SAP data as well. You have data from your CRM, you might have data from your WMS systems or logistics platforms or supply chain platforms, or any external data. These are all things Joule can handle. But at the same time, this cross-system intelligence, if it has to be made possible, there needs to be a data foundation layer, which brings in the data modeling capability that, even to the data that is going to be fed into Joule. So a Joule connected to SAP doesn't solve the enterprise problem. It solves the, the problem within SAP, or if there is intelligent interface or a smart interface within SAP is solved. But when you look at the larger enterprise, when you have to bring in non-SAP data as well, there is going to be a problem. Another thing is we have seen with other customers is when there is volume to handle, and when it is connected directly to SAP transactional tables and operational tables, there is going to be this problem of how often or how fast these AI models can process this large set of data. And should we even feed this large set of data to the AI models? Is it the right design, or do they really require it? These are all questions that come up in that particular architecture. So if to answer it simply, wouldn't Joule solve the data problem directly? Really depends, right? To an extent, if your SAP data is clean, if your non-SAP data is not involved, and if the volume is manageable, sure. But when you're looking at an enterprise, a wider enterprise, it really requires an architectural attention and possibly a data foundation.
Yeah, and the real challenge is creating a consistent business view across all systems, right? And this is where like data engineering, master data management, and governance, lineage, etc., are very critical. So eventually, that question is like, is it Joule or data foundation? It's not that. It's actually how good the data foundation is that Joule is sitting on, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Again, another great question, though.
Yeah. That's it. I think that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you all for your participation and the great questions. If you'd like to explore these topics further for your organization, please feel free to reach out to us using the contact details shared here. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you all.